So we got a chance to tour Meta headquarters, and we got a chance to tour Nvidia headquarters. And
very different.
Yeah, for sure.
Very different cultures.
Very different cultures.
Talk to Aaron.
Work culture. Work culture.
For sure.
Yes.
Okay. So you want the truth, or you want the
I know where you're going.
Nothing but the truth. Rashad, it's just me and you talking. Nobody listening. Not 7,100 people.
Man. I know where we're going.
Okay. It's important to be honest in life. It's over.
It's over.
It's over with.
It's over with. We're not playing.
It's over with.
It's scary.
Elaborate, please, because that sounds so definitive. But when you say it's over, you mean?
They're working on technology that's going to replace the human race pretty much.
And it's almost done.
Less than 0.5% of any employee in any of these buildings are Black people.
It's true.
Less than probably 3% of Black people, period, are even aware or even concerned in the least bit of what's happening. Like I said, that's why it's like, even after a while, like you arguing with people online and you trying to say, like, you know, it's got to be tiring. But more important, it's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. Because when we go there, there's 5 Black people and everybody's like, yo, like, it's like, how did you get the key to heaven? But it's actually embarrassing. Like I said, shout out to New Era Detroit. He was like, y'all more concerned with Big Meech's paperwork than your son's schoolwork.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Our priorities, talking about who Chloe Bailey is dating and just a bunch of random nonsense and Adam 22 and all of that. Like, now they have life-changing technology that's being developed that we have no input on at all. We're not aware of any of it. And we're just going to be casualties and victims. And it's over for America. Because most of the employees at these companies are Chinese and Indian. So much so, they said that sometimes in the Zoom calls, they have full Zoom calls in Mandarin.
In Mandarin. Department-wide.
I don't think people understand. Like, this is alarming.
Yes.
At very high level. At a very, very high level. Like, you see, America finally won the World Math Championship for high school, and every kid on the team is Chinese. We are getting dumber as a society.
By design.
And it's alarming. And China has a plan in place to take over the world. You know, I'm with a lot of smart people these days, and I'm getting a lot of information. I'm learning things. And you know, China, the CCP has a whole propaganda campaign called Spamiflage. So, you know, I just realized it today because when I go on Instagram, I just see all these positive Chinese posts. It's like China built 37 hospitals, China, like, but then I started to get the information like China got a lot of internal problems. The negative birth rate, the economy is pretty much on eggshells, but you never hear any of this stuff. Like all of this stuff on Meta. So what China is doing is that they're actually funding the dysfunction in America. So you see people like Margie, what's her name? Margie, the senator,
Margie Green.
Margie Green. How does she get 1 million followers? If you ever really think about that, like no politician really has that many followers. Like they got all these they're promoting dysfunction in America. That's why they really wanted Trump to win. They're promoting dysfunction in America because they understand that we're just tearing up our society. But on Meta, if you look at like Instagram, you're only going to see positive Chinese posts. It's like you go to the wealth page and all that. It's like, oh, China just built this railroad. China just did this. It's positive propaganda that they're pushing to enhance their world perception. The crazy thing about that is that Meta is not even allowed in China. How you take over a U.S. app? They took over a U.S. app to shape the narrative for their country, to create dysfunction in our country. The app's not even allowed inside of their country. I'll be honest with you. It's getting to a point where it's going to be so far, the gap is going to be so wide, you're not going to be able to catch up. And by the time you realize that you're not going to be able to catch up, it's over. The game is over with. It's over with. And when I say like the game is over with, like the game is over. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Lights out, permanent underclass, like that's what I'm saying. It's like we got to take this a little bit more serious. The things that we're concerned about are not important at all. That's why, like this year, InvestFest, artificial intelligence is a main theme. We're gonna have like 6 workshops to teach. Like, we're going to technology is the most important thing that we need to be focused on right now. Everything else is a distraction. Technology, entrepreneurship, and investing. If those are the 3 most important things right now. China is they're teaching artificial intelligence in primary school. When New York State is banning ChatGPT, we're moving the exact opposite direction. They're teaching 5th graders and 3rd graders artificial intelligence. You can go through a whole master's program and never learn artificial intelligence in America at all.
They just, and we were speaking to, there's a HBCU that just got artificial intelligence as a bachelor's degree. It's the first one.
Yeah.
Like we always talk, obviously people look at us and they think wealth gap. Now this is the information gap and the technological gap that is, there is no coming back from that. Right. And yes, it's cool that we invest. Great. But we need people inside. Like we need people who are going to have large language models. Who are going to create them. We're going to need a robotics engineer. We're going to need a humanoid engineer. We're going to need a synthetic biology. We need people in these spaces because if it is created without us, there is no imprint from us. Like, and that's the seriousness of it. Like when we talked to Robert Smith, it's the same thing. If we're not part of the process in creating, we're left out. Straight up. And that's not going to get reversed.
And from a legal standpoint, if I am a company and I 3rd-party license robots for autonomous vehicles and factory jobs, who do you sue in terms of discrimination if I'm leasing said robots from a 3rd-party vendor because they're not my robots because I don't have the tech to actually run it, just the software to update them? You won't even be able to have the same litigation process. You think this is being, I told you in the beginning, AI is just going to be used as a way to create a gap so wide that we will never be able to recover. Another thing to gauge is the enthusiasm of the corporations to deploy it for that reason. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I saw.
Yeah. AI validation, reinforcement learning. We talked to you about data centers. Went to Meta, like, yo, I was telling the people in the class that y'all got, Market Mondays, that y'all got 32 data centers. They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, but nobody's ever said. He's like, yeah, we've been building. I said, that's interesting. The most interesting part is like, look at where they're being built. Look at the states that they're being built in.
Yep.
They all have the same color. All have the same color. And they're using energy efficient ways. They're using local electricity, but they're giving incentives to those places. Like we gotta participate, y'all. This is like
we got 2 to 5 years. I'm being real. All that 10-year projection shit.
They asked us this question, like, let's just be 100% honest. They asked us this question and they kind of knew the answer. They're like, what do you see AI in the next 10 years? We all gave an answer when we were on the panel. And shout out to Lewis. He was just like, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not 10 years. It's 2. 2 years.
Must move faster.
2 years, bro.
Yep.
Yo, it's not an alarmist, not being an alarmist.
We're not being sensational. This is factual data driven insight.
Yeah. Who just put that? Somebody said it's changing by the hour. I'm like, yeah. So think about that. A college is just now offering a 4-year degree for artificial intelligence, right? I said in 2 days things could change. I can't wait 4 years to get a degree to now practice. It ain't gonna be a degree. It's gonna have to be a certification, and we're gonna have to learn on the job. I can't wait 4 years, bro.
There's 2 things that you gotta do. You gotta get your money, because let's be honest, people with money they're gonna be good.
You're gonna be fine.
If you got money, you're gonna be good. That's why you gotta learn this entrepreneurship. You gotta learn this investing. If you have money, you'll be able to be okay. If you don't have money, you gotta learn the skill set and you gotta learn tech. If you don't have money and don't know tech,
it's over with.
It's over with. It's over with, unfortunately. Okay.
I'm sorry to scare you, but we.
Oh, here's the good news. No, it's real. It's real. I wish I could like sugarcoat it, but it's real. And being in that space, and we got, you know what? Even though there was a few of us, I want to shout out those people.
For sure.
Shout out to our brothers from Super Micro that came over and talked to us, because when they saw us, it was a reflection of the community in the sense where like people actually care about what they've been doing for the past 25
Super
years.
passionate.
Because some of these people have been working in tech. Shout out to our earners. People have been working in tech for 20, 30, 40 years. And they're like, they've been trying to tell the community, like, this is happening. Here's what's coming. And at every chance they miss it, nobody listens. And they were thankful that there's a platform now. So kudos to us and everybody that follows and that is doing their part inside the space. But to give a voice to what's actually happening and how important this is and how important the work is and how we need more people, because it's lonely. It's lonely in there, right? Like imagine, like we're walking in that building, and obviously we're visiting, and we're gonna come back and report what we saw. But they got to go to work there tomorrow.
Yeah,
and they've been there for years, and they might.
I saw.
Yeah, it's real. Shout out to them. Keep going. We need y'all. We need y'all. We need y'all to do that. Keep going.
For everybody that's saying where to start, I mean, I would say the best place to start is the video that we did with X. That's a 2-hour video from at the beginning level to pretty high level of learning, the prompting and stuff like that. So I mean, start there. But man,
they said she was incredible. We went to that video. You were like, that video was incredible.
Of course, InvestFest, she tore it down last year. But teach your kids how to prompt at the very, like, just little stuff, like teach them how to use ChatGPT, teach them how to prompt, teach them about different things, like just get them in the flow of it. They're not gonna be an expert overnight, but you can't hide it from them. Like banning ChatGPT is like banning a calculator. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. Like, why are you trying to hide something that is inevitable?
Get them involved.
Nvidia is to AI what Microsoft was to the PC market, but probably 20 times bigger. I can't even extrapolate how, and I'm going to be very honest, and I said this on stage, and not just because I was there. Nvidia is probably the only company who, if you remember the Depression crash, when James Pierpont Morgan bailed out America, literally, the Nvidia AI wave bailed us out from a crash that we were supposed to have. They are the VC and angel that is deploying the code. So think about this, like they're valued at trillions of dollars, but everyone is relying on them for their market valuation and for the software to deploy in all tech in the United States of America and Saudi, who wrote that big ass check.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a list of things that they should be looking at. I wrote this list of careers inside of AI. So I'll put it up. I'll post it.
And it's tougher. It's even tougher to get a job now once Trump came.
Let me see if
with that whole because the thing about the DI, that's one of the things they were like, yo, DI, no black people really benefited from DI anyway. It's not even just the fact, like people was not even, they scared to even talk to a black person because they feel like if I hire a black person, period, it's gonna look like DI. It's gonna look like, so their focus is to go as far as away from black people as possible. Because there's pressure, there's legal pressure. That DI thing is real. You see, Columbia University just caved in. Once they put $400 million on the table, government said we're going to take $400 million away from Columbia University. If you don't, they waited till the kids go on break. The kids is on break this week, and they announced their new policies. They caved in, but nobody's trying to lose money. Nobody's trying to go to war with the government. Like this, there is some real effects of this situation. There was already not trying to look in that direction anyway. Now they're not even thinking about going to Howard University or Clark Atlanta.
Peter Thiel was just speaking negatively on Howard versus Harvard this past weekend.
Peter Thiel, what did he say?
That it's an quote unquote paraphrasing. It's an inferior college in comparison, and a person should run the country if they went to Howard, taking shots at Queen
Kamala. Yo, they're not even thinking about it, and it's no apology.
There's no decorum.
Before, they had to at least do the dog and pony show up. Now they're like, what? They were telling people, they're like, well, no, why? Like, why would we go there? They like the black people was telling them people like, nah, you got to go there because there's talent. They're like, no, why would we go there? There's no point. Like, what's the point?
What's the audience there?
But the tricky part about it is that, see, it's a domino effect that affects everybody. There's no white people there either.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Like, you cut your nose trying to spite you. What is it? You spite your face. You
Cut your nose to spite your face.
Spite your face. You're doing all of this to try to further the gap of black people. You're hurting yourself because there's no white people there either. America is in trouble when they having Zoom calls in Mandarin.
Yes,
That's a problem.
Don't show up late
at
to the
a
meeting.
Fortune 4 company.
Don't show up late to the meeting. You might miss everything. No translation.
And if y'all think redlining in real estate was bad, man, redlining in AI is probably 100 times worse.
No, it's real. We sat there and watched what appeared to be like field trips. And I'm just like, this is crazy. We still taking kids to the Bronx Zoo. These dudes is touring Nvidia and Meta. Like,
Yep.
Shout out to the Bronx Zoo though.